There is a heated debate regarding the governance of the Los Angeles Unified School District. LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa has been working hard to take charge of the failing school system and has turned up the heat by enlisting his compadres in the state legislature. Assembly Speaker Fabian Nunez has authored Assembly Bill 1381, and Villaraigosa put on a full-court press with the Speaker and the Senate Pro Tem, Gloria Romero, to garner public support for this hostile takeover of the LA school system.
It's time to get our cities and teachers and parents engaged in a partnership. And through this legislation, we're asking for a greater role.
As chair of the Public Education Committee, Assemblywoman Jackie Goldberg hosted a public hearing for the bill, and Antonio came out swinging.
The current system is a top-down structure that was developed in the 1960s, and it's not working. Past efforts at reform have been watered down or never fully adopted. I know that there's some who will say that this is a model district, that API scores are going up, that we shouldn't change anything because the LAUSD is on the right track.
LAUSD Superintendent Roy Romer enthusiastically agreed with the mayor's last statement.
In academics, there is no urban district in California in the last 6 years that has done what we have done. You well know the way we measure progress in this state is how many API points we increase. It's the rate of increase that you really want to pay attention to.
But the mayor wasn't buying it. Apparently, improving API, or Academic Performance Index scores, don't indicate a successful school system.
I didn't come here to argue here. I did come here to make a case, however, that nothing could be further from the truth.
Romer stuck to his guns. He is adamant that the growth and improvement is an evolutionary process, and if left alone, the district will continue improving.
I want you to know where it has increased. See my arm? That's the first 3 years. See my arm now? That's the last 3 years. That's where the gain occurred. You know why? Because we have a system working. We started in the elementary. We're bringing that theory of change up through middle school. We're going to bring it through high school. We have much more growth to go. And I welcome the mayor to join with us. We need his cooperation. I asked for it. We're going to have it. But let me tell you, this bill is not the way to go.
The district, the LA Unified, has a 50% dropout rate. 50% dropout rate that, frankly, is a crisis.
Dropout. Dropout is a problem. Let me give you the honest facts. It was 33% last year by the state statistics. It's 24% this year. It's not 50. I just got to repeat that again. It's not 50. But whatever it is, it's too high. That's why we began this program beginning in the elementary grades, because the real way to reduce dropout is to make youngsters successful. We know that. But we're accelerating that dropout program, and this board has been foursquare behind all of these issues that I have been describing.
But the audience was getting more and more heated, and it wasn't just the temperature. Eventually, State Senator Gloria Romero took them to the boiling point.
So when I look at this bill, I go back and I think, this is not about mayoral control. And by the way, I'm sorry. And let me say, listen to me. We will not have that.
When it finally came time to talk, dozens of citizens stepped forward to express their opinions. Activist Gene Krischer struck a nerve when he criticized the budgetary controls proposed by the bill. Apparently, under Assembly Bill 1381, the school board would only have a general approval of budget classifications, and the superintendent would have the capability to move or remove funding for the various departments under that general classification. According to Krischer, this could allow for the superintendent to defund the Office of Inspector General, which could permit tremendous vulnerability for fraud and in the contracting process. His comment brought an explosion of disagreement from within the panel.
We have $20 and 2/3 billion in construction, and over 6 years that this will be in effect before it terminates. $45 billion of general fund money without adequate oversight. If anyone can argue that no oversight over that magnitude of money can be of benefit to any child, or let alone their achievement, let him bring that argument forward.
It does include a provision for the Inspector General to have access to the entire contracting process that is in the superintendent's hands and to report on a quarterly basis to the Board of Education to ensure that there is accountability and a check and balance. With respect to your second question, yes, I would assert that having a Board of Education spend significant amounts of its time on contracts rather than on education is not serving the needs of students.
The decision to amend the bill that says that the board will review the contracts, but after they've been executed. What is the value of doing it after they've been executed?
No, what my answer was that the Inspector General will have access and present a quarterly report. Now, there are exceptions, of course, where the Board of Education would decide on contracts relating to outsourcing of employment
I'm talking
or
about
budget revision.
I'm talking about all the construction, I'm talking about all the books and materials, all those things are done by contract.
That's
What's
correct.
the value of the board reviewing them after they've been executed?
The board does not review them after. The
It
board
is
doesn't.
now, it's in the bill.
The board doesn't have any role in those contracts.
Did you hear what he said? The board doesn't have any role in reviewing the multi-million-dollar contracts. Astonishing. School Board General Counsel Kevin Reed supported Mr. Krischer's opinion about the vulnerability of the Inspector General. This was hotly contested by the Chief Legal Counsel to the Mayor, Tom Zines.
Given the budgetary authority that the bill would grant to the superintendent could functionally defund the Inspector General. Currently, the LA Unified School District has a budget in excess of $10 million for the Office of Inspector General that is within the board's control. The board could lose that control should this bill become law and put the superintendent in the position to defund the Office of the Inspector General in a way that allows the Inspector General to have meaningful oversight of those contracts.
I'm sorry, but the superintendent could not defund the Inspector General.
Well, I don't understand how he couldn't, Mr. Sings, because it says in
the
the
budget
bill
is
that-
set at a level that line item, that's not a line item. And if further controls need to be put into the legislation to assure that, we would do
I think that's a good
that.
idea.
I will point out, Ms. Goldberg, that we're dealing now with legislation that nobody in this room has seen except Mr. Sines, because the language of the bill as it currently is in print does not contain that language.
I think Mr. Sines made it very, very clear that $19 billion of taxpayers' money plus $6 billion of general fund, $6 to $7 billion of general fund money will no longer have the purview of the public dialogue or be seen by the board. I think he's made that perfectly clear. That's why I said in the beginning that this bill lacks transparency that you deserve. I'm not an assembly member, but you deserve.
I'm asking the assembly member, if you want this to consist of a debate among those of us up here, I'll engage in that debate.
I really don't.
But if you're going to permit them to make those kinds of
Then
statements,
go
I have to
ahead and
ask for a
respond.
response.
I'm not, did I stop
Wait,
you?
excuse me.
Did I try to stop you?
No, I'm telling you.
I was responding to
I'm not
him.
saying
Don't talk to me like that.
Quiet, please. Quiet.
The state and local PTA, represented by Scott Folsom, spoke out in opposition to the proposed mayoral governance bill.
Who reports to whom is a spider web with invisible lines of authority in one of the graphic representations, and nowhere in the scheme of accountability does the word parent appear.
The city of Los Angeles was also concerned about the legislation. What liability would the city have as the mayor assumed responsibility of the much maligned school district? This was debated at a recent city council meeting.
But our concern was to ensure that there continued to be a separation between the school district and the public school system and the city of Los Angeles, so that when our mayor is acting in his role as the council of mayors, there is not some assumed connection with the city and some liability that would flow from that.
District Council Kevin Reed wasn't convinced.
There are risks and liabilities, and while the legislation, particularly given these new amendments, would try to transfer all costs in a stunning piece of public policy, the likes of which I have never seen before, in which you've totally separated accountability from responsibility, you cannot, I believe, put impact on this and truly insulate the city from liability for federal law, for our obligations under federal consent decrees, or for violations of the federal constitutional rights of students.
LA Councilman Alex Padilla brought up the most significant question. Once the mayor has this control that he wants, then what? What will the mayor do to fix all these problems in the school district?
You heard me say on occasion that on the issue of mayoral control, or since we've evolved from that I've been eager to hear the then what conversation. Our mayor has asked for an increased role, at one point control over the school district. And while the governance structure is one thing, then what? Then what would he do to help improve the school district? Then what would he do to improve student performance?
This issue has become one of the most contentious issues facing education in California and has raised the specter of lengthy constitutional challenges. We want to know what you, the viewers, think. Please respond to our survey and leave your comments below. Number 1, do you support the mayor's quest for power over the LA Unified School District? Number 2, since the proposed legislation will require the LAUSD superintendent to report to the newly created Council of Mayors and the school board, do you think having 2 bosses will create turmoil and confusion? And number 3, if this bill passes, do you think the city of Los Angeles can be insulated against lawsuits for the actions of the mayor when he tampers with the schools? Please respond to our survey and leave your comments below. Thank you. As you can see, full disclosure is not in the business of distorting the news. We're not in the business of trying to convince our viewers, only to inform them. We're a nonprofit educational organization. We provide the platform and the vehicle where you can hear the various perspectives. It's up to you, the viewers, to determine what is right and what is wrong. If you want full disclosure to continue to shine the light of truth on important issues that the mainstream media just won't do, then we need your support. There are so many important issues facing our communities, our state, and our nation, and your tax-deductible contribution can help us get the word out to continue informing the public. You are invited to join the Friends of Full Disclosure. Your support will help assure that we can reach more and more people and improve the production quality of our programs. All you have to do is send us the much-needed support using PayPal. Just click on the link below and join at whatever level you can afford. Our goal is government accountability. When the people are informed on the issues, then the people in government must do what is right, because they know we're watching. Together we can make a difference, but we need your support to continue bringing you the news behind the news. Please contribute what you can. Thank you.